Welcome to this episode of True Crime Chronicles, where we dive into a chilling series of unsolved murders that have haunted Long Island for over a decade. The case of the Long Island serial killer, also known as the Gilgo Beach killings. This story is not just about the victims. It's about the search for justice, the impact on families, and the ongoing quest to uncover the truth behind these heinous acts. Our story begins on May 1st, 2010, when Shannan Gilbert, a 24-year-old escort, disappeared after leaving a client's home in Oak Beach, Long Island. Shannan was known to have struggled with mental health issues, and her erratic behavior during her last encounter led her to flee into the night, knocking on doors and pleading for help. Her frantic calls to 911 were filled with panic as she claimed someone was trying to kill her. Despite an extensive search for Shannan, it wasn't until December 2011 that her remains were discovered in a wooded area near Gilgo Beach. While authorities initially believed her death was accidental, possibly due to drowning or hypothermia, her disappearance sparked an investigation that would uncover a far darker reality. While searching for Shannan, police stumbled upon something horrifying: the remains of 10 women scattered along a stretch of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo Beach. The bodies were found in burlap sacks, meticulously hidden from plain sight. This shocking discovery led investigators to believe they were dealing with a serial killer. Among the victims were Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and Amber Costello, 4 women who became known as the Gilgo Four. Each had been working as escorts and had gone missing under similar circumstances. Melissa Barthelemy, 24, disappeared in July 2009 after meeting a client. Her sister received disturbing phone calls from someone using Melissa's phone after she vanished. Megan Waterman, 22, was last seen in June 2010. Her body was discovered in December 2010. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 25, went missing in June 2007. She was the first of the Gilgo Four to vanish. Amber Costello, 27, disappeared in September 2010. Her remains were found alongside those of the other victims. The discovery of these bodies raised alarm bells across the nation and prompted an extensive investigation into what became known as the Long Island serial killer case. As investigators delved deeper into the case, they began to uncover connections between the victims and potential suspects. The investigation faced numerous challenges, including public scrutiny and criticism over law enforcement's handling of the case. In July 2023, a significant breakthrough occurred when Rex Heuermann, a local architect with no prior criminal record, was arrested and charged with 3 counts of murder related to the deaths of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Heuermann's arrest marked a turning point in a case that had gone cold for years. Authorities linked Heuermann to the murders through various pieces of evidence: cell phone records. Investigators traced calls made from Heuermann's phone to those of some victims around the time they disappeared. DNA evidence. A hair found on one victim matched DNA from Heuermann's family members. Burner phones. Heuermann allegedly used disposable phones to communicate with his victims. Planning documents. Investigators discovered documents at Heuermann's home that detailed potential murder plans and locations where bodies could be disposed of. Despite this evidence, Heuermann has pleaded not guilty and maintains his innocence. His trial is set against a backdrop of public fascination and horror as more details emerge about his life and possible motives. As we explore this case further, several theories have emerged regarding who might be responsible for these murders. single killer theory. Many investigators believe there is one perpetrator behind these killings due to similarities in how the bodies were disposed of and how the victims were selected. Multiple killers. Some experts suggest that there could be more than one killer involved, given the number of victims found over such an extended period. Local connection. Investigators suspect that whoever committed these crimes is familiar with Long Island's geography. The secluded nature of Gilgo Beach provided an ideal dumping ground for bodies. Law enforcement involvement. There are whispers in some circles that the killer may have had ties to law enforcement or knowledge of police procedures that allowed them to evade capture for so long. The families of the victims have endured unimaginable pain and suffering throughout this ordeal. Many have become advocates for justice, demanding answers from law enforcement while grappling with their grief. The emotional toll is evident. They seek closure not only for themselves, but also for their loved ones whose lives were tragically cut short. In recent years, some families have taken matters into their own hands by hiring private investigators or forming support groups to share information and resources. Their resilience shines through as they continue to fight for justice despite years of uncertainty. As we approach 2025, new developments continue to surface in this ongoing investigation. In December 2024, authorities announced additional charges against Heuermann related to another victim, Valerie Mack, whose remains were found years apart in different locations. This revelation adds complexity to an already intricate case and raises questions about how many more victims may be connected to this alleged killer. As we conclude today's episode on the Long Island serial killer case, we are reminded that while some progress has been made in identifying suspects and gathering evidence, many questions remain unanswered. The search for justice continues not only for Shannan Gilbert, but also for all those affected by this tragic series of events. This case serves as a haunting reminder of how vulnerable individuals can fall prey to violence and exploitation, while highlighting society's responsibility to protect those at risk. Thank you for joining us on this episode of True Crime Chronicles. We encourage you to share your thoughts on this chilling case and what you believe should happen next in the pursuit of justice for these victims. Until next time, stay safe and keep questioning what lies beneath every story.